This video is for everyone out there who is trying to achieve success in their lives, whether it's financial sovereignty, time sovereignty, location sovereignty, or in general, just freedom and control over their own lives. This video is primarily aimed towards answering one fundamental question, which is, what separates those who eventually become successful from those who fail? Now, quite frankly, 99% of people want the same things that you want. They want the same financial freedom as you want. They want the same materialistic things, the cars, the houses, the yachts, the mansions. They want to give their loved ones and family the same luxurious and extravagant lifestyle as you do. And they're all actively working towards the same thing. But not everyone can succeed. So that begs the question, what separates those who make it from those who don't? And I personally believe it's not environmental factors, right? Because there are people who have been raised in wealthy families from a first world country with good parents taking care of them. They can just stay in their mother's or parents' house and they can just grind, who do not make it in life. And there are people who come from, third world countries like myself, maybe, or Nigeria, Ghana, somewhere in Africa, with bad parents, no one to help them, nowhere to start, bad education, and they still make it, right? And I personally believe that it can be dialed down into three main factors, three main reasons why those people make it. And I'm going to be going over those three reasons in today's video. First of all, I believe the first reason is belief and awareness in the process, right? And what I mean by this is, before you even embark on your journey of getting rich, you must first understand and believe that it is possible to become rich. No matter your circumstances, for the majority of people, you can get rich no matter your circumstances. You can get rich, right? Because there are people just like yourself, or maybe even started in the worst position than yourself, who have made it, right? And they're probably not as smart as you. They are probably not as talented as you are, but they still made it because of their willpower and belief and awareness of the process. They were aware that even if the results weren't immediate, if they put in the work, it would pay off. And that applies for the business model you choose. For example, I'm getting into drop shipping right now, organic drop shipping. And, the general public believes that drop shipping is dead. They believe drop shipping was something that only existed a decade ago. It doesn't work. It's some sort of scam. And there's this quote I really like that goes, "The rich get richer, but the poor get poorer, because the poor think that every opportunity is a scam." And that's something that I take to heart because, I've always been the type of person who gives up on something when it doesn't work once, right? Some people call it shiny object syndrome, but you can try one business model. It doesn't work the first time. So you automatically believe it's impossible to get rich with that. You try another one, that doesn't work. You try another one, that doesn't work. But quite frankly, from what I've learned from successful entrepreneurs and rich people and those with significant wealth, every business model works to a certain extent if you try hard in it, right? If you put in the hours, if you put in the years and years of work, it may take longer in some than others, and some may have limited scalability compared to others. But if you try hard enough, every business model works. So, I see people who have made it work with dropshipping recently. Those who've gone from 0 to 10 to 20K a month within just a couple months, and then scaled to 50, 100K a month. And, some people may think it's a scam because of what society implies, right? People think generally that organic dropshipping and dropshipping in general is a scam. But, looking at the people who've made it, although it's just a handful, it gives me inspiration. And it inspires me to believe that it's possible, right? And that's why I'm trying it. Because if you don't believe it's possible to get rich, and if you don't believe that what you're doing right now can eventually work and is actively working for other people, then why would you even do it, right? So I believe the first step to make sure that you end up making it, and compared to someone who doesn't, is to ensure that you believe in whatever you're doing and you believe that it can work. Now, the second point is self-belief, right? And this is probably the most important thing, because with every business model, you're going to struggle. It's very, very rare that you're going to succeed the first time you try. I've already tested 2 products, right? And those 2 products failed terribly. I got shadow banned like 7 times. All my accounts got banned. My targeting was off. I had to reset like 3, 4 devices. It was a pain in the ass, right? There will be failures like this, small failures, big failures. And as your business gets bigger, the failures will become bigger and much more painful. The bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. And through all this pain, through all these problems, all you will have is yourself. Because quite frankly, no one is going to come and save you. No one is going to come and hold your hand and guide you through this process, right? At the end of the day, nobody except your parents, most likely, genuinely care and unconditionally care about you no matter what you do for them. And especially in the beginning when you have nothing, no money, no friends who support you, most likely. Maybe you have a loved one or a family member. And those are for lucky people. Most people start out completely alone. All you have is yourself to keep you going, right? In the tough times when you're alone, all you have is your trust in yourself and your responsibilities to succeed. That's going to keep you going, right? If you don't have self-belief, if you don't have this drive inside of you, then there's no guarantee that you're not going to give up. Eventually you will if you don't believe in yourself. You must believe, firstly, that it's possible to succeed. Then you must believe that it is possible for you to succeed. And I don't want you to take this lightly. You can't just say, yeah, I believe I can succeed. Yeah, I'm going to be rich one day. I'm never going to give up. You must ingrain it into your soul because it will test you. Business in life will test you. It will put you in your most uncomfortable situations, out of your comfort zone. It will test you and it will pull you away from what you know and what you're used to. And when you're away from everything you know, everything you once believed, the only thing that's going to hold you back and hold you on the path to success is your self-belief and your belief that no matter what happens, you can handle it and you will get out of that situation. So in a sense, it's almost emotional maturity and kind of control over your own emotions. You must be able to stay on the path and believe in yourself that you can do it no matter what comes up. And it's much easier said than done because before I started business, before I started working out, I always thought it's going to be easy, right? Even though something fails, I'm not going to care. I'm going to keep going. One product fails, who cares? I'll test another one. When you say it and you think about it from a third person perspective, it's just numbers. Test 1 product, it fails. Test 2, it fails. Test 3, it fails. But what you fail to realize is behind all those failures is emotions. Humans are social and emotional creatures by nature. You can't run away from the fact that you will feel emotions. The only reason I tested the first product was because there was a part of me that believed that it was a good product, that it could work. If I didn't think it would work, there was no reason for me to test it. And then when the first product failed, I was sad, right? Because there was a part of me that wanted the product to work, right? And then when it didn't work, I didn't want to let it go because, although other people weren't buying it, I still believed that there was a customer base out there, and I kept trying to push it. And when it didn't work, it was discouraging, right? I thought for a moment that it wouldn't work, dropshipping may be dead, I should just give up. But at that time, the only thing that was reminding me to stay on the path and to keep going was my self-belief. Because I had to remind myself to not think emotionally and just approach everything from a third-person perspective, right? Because when emotions get involved, especially in business, from my understanding, it's bad, right? So always try and keep a logical approach. Believe in yourself. No matter what happens, always try and think of things from a statistical and numerical standpoint and keep your emotions out of it. Because at the end of the day, no one cares about how you feel, and you must believe that you can handle anything. Now, the third point that I want to mention in this video is having an external why. Now, you may question, what do you mean by this, right? And this dives into the realm of motivation, which is kind of become this cringe thing nowadays, right? Motivation is supposed to be something that drives you, something that inspires you to keep going. But with social media and just, the self-improvement trend that's going on right now, motivation has become like this cringe thing, this thing that's temporary and something that's weak and it's just an excuse, right? I personally believe that motivation is still real, but motivation isn't bursts of energy, right? It's not those times when it's 2 a.m., 3 a.m., you have these TikTok audios in your head and you just suddenly have this urge to work hard. That's not motivation for me. Motivation for me is your why. The reason you're doing all this. Is it because you want the materialistic stuff? Is it because you came from a poor family and you never want to struggle about money again? Is it because you saw your mom or dad struggle with finances and you want to give them a better life? You want to donate to charity? You want to build churches? What is your reason? You must have a strong why. And this ties into the second point of self-belief. Without a strong why, it is very easy for you to be veered off your path. And my third point was to have an external why. And what I mean by an external why is a reason why you're doing this outside of yourself. For example, if the reason you want to get successful is because you want a nice car, a nice house, if it's a personal reason, it's very easy for you to give up. Because whether you want to believe it or not, the human body and the human mind is very good at making excuses, right? So maybe you'll be able to work for 1 year, maybe even 2 years of hard work. But after many failures and mistakes and all these challenges and obstacles, your body and your mind may potentially get the better of you. It may potentially persuade you that, maybe this is not all worth it, right? For example, you're doing this for yourself. You want the nice cars, you want the girls, you want the extravagant lifestyle. If things get hard enough, there will be a part of you that thinks, maybe I don't want that anymore. Maybe this is too difficult. Maybe I'll be comfortable with what I have now. Maybe I'll settle for something less. And that's a very dangerous mindset, because once you get comfortable with the idea of staying in your comfort zone, that's when the devil catches up to you, because then there's nothing left to drive you, right? And even though you should believe in yourself, you should also understand that there will be times when your emotions will veer you off your path. And there will be times where you don't feel like doing it. And you have to understand that no matter how dedicated you think you are, no matter how committed you think you are, how strong you think you are, those times will come eventually. So instead of just relying on yourself as the reason why you're doing this, it's important to have an external why. For me, my external why is my parents and my family, because I don't come from the best circumstances, right? I started off very poor when I was a kid, and then my father and my mom worked so hard, especially my mother. My dad worked so hard to provide for me. He came from a poor family. My mom also came from a poor family, and my mom is looking after my grandma, who's really sick, and she's also trying her best to give me as much attention and raise me as well as possible. So, as a son, I feel a responsibility to give back to her, right? Because she sacrificed her life. She doesn't go out. She doesn't have fun. She could just leave me, right? She could just leave me in the house, not care about me, and do whatever she wants. But she doesn't. She spends her time. She spends her effort. All those sleepless nights, all the money she gets, she spends on me. She spends so much time, effort, everything on me. And she sacrificed her own life to provide a good life for me. So, as a man and as a son, it would be a disappointment for me to neglect her sacrifices, to neglect what she's done for me, and to just lead a normal life. And that, for me personally, is my why. Because I want to make my parents proud. I want to give them the life that they deserve. And I want to show them that all the sacrifices they've made for me was worth it. And that they raised a successful, strong, and dedicated and committed son. So that's my why, right? So it doesn't matter how I feel. One day I may feel like I want to conquer the world. The other day I may feel like just staying in bed. But I know my parents aren't waiting for me. My family doesn't care how I feel. They may be on their bed, crying, sick, just waiting for me to succeed. And because of that, my motivation doesn't just lie in myself and how I feel. It lies in something external, something out of my control. So it doesn't matter if I'm sad. It doesn't matter if I'm happy. It doesn't matter if I don't want to get out of bed, if I'm sleepy, if I'm tired, because I know sleeping and crying and whining isn't going to get me any closer to their goals. And I also understand that no one else cares about how I feel. So I believe it's very important for you to have an external why. It may be your parents, it may be your loved ones, maybe your partner, your girlfriend, or your boyfriend. Maybe it's some sort of goal you have. Maybe you want to donate to your church, or you love dogs, you want to donate to dog shelters, whatever it may be. You must have some sort of external why outside of yourself, which acts as a motivation and a drive for you to succeed, because it will ensure that even at times, in your deepest, darkest, loneliest times where you don't have any motivation, where you don't feel like doing anything, and you just feel like sleeping in, whining, crying, and you feel like giving up, there is something outside of your control that is greater than you, which is veering you onto your path and keeping you on that path and just motivating you to succeed, right? So those are the 3 main points I want to cover in this video. Firstly, in order to get rich, you must believe that it's possible to get rich. Number 2, you must believe in yourself. If you want to get rich, not only do you have to believe that it's possible to get rich, you must believe that it's possible for you to get rich. No matter your circumstances, no matter where you come from, you must understand there is a way to get there. It will take a lot of suffering. It will take a lot of hard work. It will take crossing a lot of obstacles and challenges, overcoming a lot of challenges, but you must believe that you are strong enough and emotionally driven enough to be able to get over these obstacles and challenges. Number 3, you must have an external why. Don't be dependent only on yourself and your ambitions and your feelings on making it, right? Because quite frankly, your emotions aren't going to be stable no matter how strong you think you are, no matter how committed or dedicated you think you are. There will be times where you want to give up. There will be times where you feel like sleeping in and doing nothing. And that is why it's very important to have some sort of external reason outside of yourself why you're trying to succeed. Now, keep in mind, I'm just getting started on my entrepreneurial journey. I'm not a millionaire myself. I've actually, not even done anything in business. This is just something that I think is true. I read a lot of books, right? I read quite a bit of business books, and I listen to a lot of people. I listen to podcasts. And from what I've heard and what I've understood, these are the 3 main things that have stayed consistent throughout all the things and information I've consumed. No matter the person, these are generally the things that they advise. And those are the things that I personally, when thinking from my own perspective, with my own logic, think is reasonable, right? These are reasons why some people make it and some people don't. And it's much easier said than done. There will be 100 people who watch this video, maybe even more. But I'm pretty sure only a couple of you will succeed because it's much easier to say it and a lot harder to actually apply it. So what I want you to do is to write everything I said down on a piece of paper. Think about it yourself, right? Don't just listen to me. Take these concepts and put it in your head. Think about it. Go to your bed, close the lights, and think about it. Spend some time thinking about the things I said to you. And once you understand them, ingrain them into your soul and into your mind. They must become a part of you because difficulties and challenges will arise and they will test your composure. They will test how much you actually believe in yourself and in the process.